Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. We'll now travel to the country of Colombia, where we'll review a recent strike by Colombian sugarcane workers.
The South American country of Colombia has seen violent repression of sugarcane workers in October 2008. Colombia holds the per hectare world record for sugar yields. Close to half of the country's sugar cultivation is slated for production, either as raw sugar or as ethanol, and about 1/3 of that sugar is slated for export. Colombia is divided into 32 departments, and it's been in the departments of Valle de Cauca, Risaralda, and Cauca, where many sugarcane laborers cultivate sugar in what are called associative cooperatives. A name like associative cooperatives suggests that workers have some control of their economic circumstances. But in these so-called cooperatives, that's regrettably not the case. These cooperatives redefine worker status in order to avoid Colombian laws for sick leave, housing, job stability, and fair pay. Instead, these so-called cooperatives and their so-called members, many of whom are part of the Afro-Colombian community of black ancestry in Colombia, carry workdays as long as 14 hours, bear salaries as low as $200 per month, and are not allowed to join or form unions. Nevertheless, Colombian sugarcane workers have been agitating to improve their circumstances. On September 15, 2008, 10,000 of the country's 18,000 sugarcane laborers have gone on strike to protest the dismal labor conditions and to demand basic labor standards, including a livable wage. The response by right-wing Colombian President Álvaro Uribe: repression. On October 7, 2008, Uribe dispatched police and military forces to break the strike with violence. Some 100 workers have been injured, while others face death threats or threats of work termination for trying to hold meetings. President Uribe's excuse has been to blame the FARC, a left Colombian guerrilla organization classified by both the Colombian and U.S. governments as a terrorist group. Uribe and other government officials have accused FARC as being outside agents provocateurs who have supposedly agitated for the strike. This would then make the strike a national security issue. But a statement from the striking sugarcane workers, quoted in a response from Interpress Service, said, "We sugarcane cutters are neither delinquents nor terrorists. We are honest workers, demanding respect for our rights." Meanwhile, Uribe has been paying considerable sums of money lobbying the U.S. Congress for the Free Trade Agreement, an investor rights mandate involving both Colombia and the United States. The Free Trade Agreement would codify into law many anti-worker provisions that are now being implemented in the case of the sugarcane workers. In fact, the Free Trade Agreement with Colombia reportedly became a bargaining chip of sorts in a 2008 meeting between U.S. President George W. Bush and U.S. President-to-be Barack Obama. Amid prospects of an American economic crisis, Mr. Obama reportedly discussed with Mr. Bush the possibility of raising billions of government dollars to help struggling American automobile companies. Mr. Bush reportedly responded by saying that he would support such a proposal only if U.S. Democratic Party politicians supported the Free Trade Agreement with Colombia, which Democratic Party politicians had stalled over human rights and labor right concerns. The Colombian sugarcane workers' strike lasted 56 days and was the longest, fiercest, and most widely publicized strike in recent Colombian history. On November 13, 2008, the main union representing the striking workers called an end to the strike. The striking workers won a wage increase, limits on the length of the workday, and more worker benefits, and the size of the union increased threefold in the course of the strike. Despite the victory, the system of phony cooperatives remains in place, and the negotiations for the United States-Colombia Free Trade Agreement continue in both countries. And the overall situation remains dire for trade unionists in Colombia on the whole, who can face assassinations for engaging in political activism and organizing. In 2008, Colombia has seen at least 41 trade unionists killed, far more than that in 2007. The struggle for worker rights and human rights continues, as it always does.
What would you do with $3 trillion? The $3 trillion shopping spree is your chance to find out. Want to reign over your own island nation? Go right ahead. Or maybe fund research that will cure a deadly disease? It's up to you. You can even wage an endless war that will cripple America's economy. With the $3 trillion shopping spree, anything's possible. Bill in Los Angeles bought 100,000 luxury yachts, 20,000 sprawling estates, and 650,000 private islands. Mary in Michigan gave health care to all Americans and still had $2.8 trillion left over. George B. in Washington started an illegal war that resulted in 151,000 dead Iraqi civilians. Gary in Indiana bought 1.5 billion pounds of beluga caviar. Debbie in New York bought 500 schools in her home state and still had $2,987 billion left for school supplies. Donald R. in Arlington, Virginia destabilized an entire region and displaced 4 million innocent people. What will you do with $3 trillion? Go to www.3trillion.org and spend, spend, spend. Psst, do something.
You've been watching Chicago Independent Television, a project of the Chicago Independent Media Center Video Collective. The Independent Media Center is a growing worldwide network of media producers, journalists, citizens, and activists, working to put the media in the hands of everyday people and away from corporate and commercial interests. To learn more, visit our website at chicago.indiemedia.org. There you can find out about upcoming Chicago area events and how to get involved in making your own media, including how to help make this very TV show. Thanks for watching. See you next time.